Let's now have a look at some of the film impact, effect, and transition integrations within recent versions of Adobe Premiere. So here I have a really simple project in Premiere Open. There's a piece of stock photography or videography here that I've gone through. I've created a sequence out of, and you can see it's just somebody walking on the beach. However, I do have a couple of different clips that this has been sliced into with the razor tool. So that's what we're dealing with. Very simple, as I said. And here we have our effect controls panel opened up. We are using the Essentials workspace here. And we also have the effects panel open along the side. Now, of course, the effects panel is where you locate your different effects. And the effect controls panel is where you then control those effects, in addition to basic motion and opacity effects and things like that are native to each clip. So if we look over here, we can see different video effects and transitions. So for instance, if I go into my video effects and maybe we go to lights and glows, I can look at these and say, okay, echo glow, edge glow, glint, light leaks, volumetric rays, wonder glow. I mean, what exactly are these? It doesn't give you a ton of information here. So if you're not familiar with these, many of these come from the Film Impact acquisition. Adobe acquired them some time ago and integrated all of their effects and transitions inside of Premiere natively. However, there are a lot. There's over 90 of them. So yeah, if you don't know what specific effects and transitions do, it might be a little hard to make a decision in terms of, should I use this one for what I'm looking for? Should I use that one? Right? So there is a little extension that can help with this. If we go up to the window menu here and we go to extensions, we can actually find here the Film Impact dashboard. So you'll find this under extensions. It's not native as a panel inside of Premiere. But if we open this up, we can then browse the different various effects and transitions. You can see we have effects here and transitions here. So if I'm looking for my effect under lights and glows, I can go to effects and lights and glows. And if I hover over each of these, I get a little preview to see how these things will look. So if I'm like, what's edge glow do? This will give me an idea of edge glow. Glint, I can get some ideas of glint, light leaks, and so on. So wonder glow, I wonder what wonder glow is, right? Volumetric rays is kind of, I don't know, it's more descriptive, I think, than a lot of these. Let's choose echo glow here. Now, we could choose echo glow from right here, or we could look at it here in the dashboard and hit apply. If we hit apply, it's going to apply to the clip we have selected. So make sure you got the correct clip selected. And then if we hit apply, we can then see what that looks like. And of course, this is only going to affect this particular clip. So when we play this back, everything's normal and the wave hits and you get these crazy rays everywhere, and then it kind of goes away, right? So that is how you could apply it from the dashboard. You could also go through and apply it from here, of course, just as you normally would. So like if we go into, I don't know, what do we have here? Stylize, no. And again, right, we don't know. So Film Impact can help us out. There's noise, perspective, interesting. Looks like it only works with vectors probably though, right? Stylize can do a mosaic. That could be kind of fun. Then you've got some basic animation, right? So grow, move, rotate, things like that. And Yeah, let's try to find one that's kind of interesting. Blurs, of course. So if we go in here and find something like a directional blur, I can then again go over here and be like, hey, let's go to blur and sharpen, and we find directional blur. And then I can place that on any of these. So maybe I'll choose this clip here and just drag and drop on top of it. Now, each one of these, and you can see directional blur here. It looks like my contact lenses have fallen out, right? So if we take one of these, we can always go over to our effect controls and we can change these. So we can see we've got directional blur applied as an effect, and we can toggle that effect on and off using the FX icon here. And then we can adjust the angle of the blur, the amount of the blur, and what is this? Chromatic. I'm gonna have to make this a little bigger to read that. Aberration. That was gonna be my guess. So chromatic aberration, you can see how that works as well. So, you've got the fine controls here, and these are all keyframeable. But you've also got this button up here, Surprise Me. And this will just randomize everything. So if you find something you like, you can always just go with it. And of course, the same thing with our Echo Glow effect. You'll notice there's many more particular values here. We can change properties. If I surprise a couple times, you can see the effect immediately. Like, look at that. Goodness. Whee! Yeah. So really interesting stuff with these new set of film impact effects. Now, it's not just effects. As we mentioned, it's also transitions. So if we go into transitions here, we have a ton of new transitions. And if I open up my film impact dashboard again, I can look down and preview all these different transitions here. So here are some animated transitions. But we also have more traditional dissolve type stuff. So an additive dissolve, blur dissolve, burn alpha, which is fun. Normal cross dissolve, dip to color, dip to black, right? We have also got mosaic and things like that. So grunge and distort, these might be my favorite transitions in the film impact group. Things like chaos and earthquake. You can see there's quite a shake to that. We also have stuff like flicker, glass, liquid distort. This is so many different ones here, right? So like if I take grunge and place that on there, and of course I can close that out and go to grunge and distort, maybe grab grunge and stick it right between these two. You can see it works just like a regular transition inside of Premiere. And we can play that back, see what it looks like. That's really cool. I like that. I like that look right there. That's super cool. But the transitions as well, that you got to deal with them a little differently. So we have this clip selected here. And of course, if we select either of these clips, we're not going to get that transition. We have to select the transition itself visibly between the clips. And then we can edit through the effect controls, things to do with the transition, right? So we got wiggle X and Y, wiggle scale, strobing, how much grunge and dirt is applied, scratches and vignetting, all sorts of really interesting stuff. So like I could change the color here. Let's make it bright red. There we go. And colorize is at 40 right now. Let's bring it up quite a bit. And flash intensity, sure, let's go crazy. And see what that looks like. Yeah, really cool stuff. And again, we do have randomize for all these different groups or surprise me, which will change it completely. Yeah. So anyway, lots of different really interesting things with these new film impact effects. And you get to them from the effects panel, of course. You change their values through the Effect Controls panel, and you can always preview them and explore them through the extension Film Impact dashboard.